I've got over here, it's kind of like a matrix, single family versus multifamily. Probably the biggest difference is the way that they're valued and the way that you can add value to them. In the single family world, if you buy a single family rental in a neighborhood, there's usually a ceiling for which values are in that neighborhood. You're not going to buy a $200,000 house in a neighborhood and do a bunch of work to it and then sell it for $2.5 million. Right? There's probably not a comp in the neighborhood that would support that. So there's a ceiling to which you can improve the asset, there's a ceiling to what you can sell it for, and it all kind of moves up together based on comparable sales, okay? In the apartment game, that's not the case. I could have an apartment complex located here and an apartment complex located right next door. Maybe they're worth the same today, and they're the same asset class, built the same year with the same type of tenant base, but over here, I spend $4 million upgrading the units and the pool and the outdoor area, et cetera, and this owner maybe doesn't do that, and therefore he can't command as higher rents. Well then, I'm going to force appreciate my asset. I'll be able to sell it for more in the long run because it brings in more money, okay? Can't really do that in the single family world. I can't just charge more rent and make my asset worth more. It's based on what my neighbor's house sold for maybe within 90 days. The other thing that's very good about multifamily investing is we can do group purchases. You can do that in single family, but you probably won't, you'll have to split your profits so much so you won't make much money. In the multifamily game, the deal that Emily and I just landed is 208 units, it's $21 million. The down payment that we're going to pay in a couple weeks is about $5 million. We don't have $5 million, so we have to find it from other people. People like yourselves. We go out and say, hey, here's our investment. Are you interested? Yes. This is the minimum investment amount, and you invest, right? So we and 70 investors, 70 of our close friends, are going to the closing table together in a couple weeks to invest. You can do that in single family, but you probably wouldn't. You're probably going to buy that by yourself. And so in multifamily, you spread the risk. You also spread the reward. You go to the next slide. Financing. Emily and I still have 4 or 5 single-family homes, and they're all financed through commercial loans. They're recourse loans, so if I don't pay the mortgage, then I have to give away all my assets to the bank. It's not the case in multifamily. The deal that we're closing in a couple weeks is a non-recourse loan. If we have trouble with the investment for whatever reason and we stay within certain bounds of our mortgage agreement, we won't have to give away any assets except for the property. So that's very unique to commercial multifamily investing. You can get commercial non-recourse debt, fixed financing from agencies like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the same agencies that maybe underwrite your residential loans. So that's very intriguing because we have to guarantee these loans, but not necessarily sign over our balance sheets. We can do them without having to give up our other assets, just the property. Then there's time management. This is my favorite one because we spent 6 years managing single-family properties and have gotten every single phone call in the book. Every single thing that's gone wrong to anybody in this room in single-family, I've dealt with 5 times. It is terrible. You don't get that with multifamily. As a deal sponsor, I meet with my property management firm probably about once a month on a stabilized deal. As a passive investor, I don't meet with anybody. I just receive a check in the mailbox, right? Yeah. That's it. So we don't have to take tenant phone calls. We don't have to go, cut the grass. We don't have to worry about releasing a unit because we pay other people to do that. This is definitely running a business. This is not running or being a landlord. This is running a business. So that is key. If you want to enjoy your lifestyle and watch your wealth grow, it's key that you're not being a landlord, you're running a business, and that's what multifamily is. And then tax advantages, we'll get into this on a later slide a little bit deeper, but the depreciation benefits on multifamily properties is significantly higher than it is on single family. Single family, if you own single family rentals, you can depreciate straight line the asset's value over 27 and a half years in most cases. You get to do that in multifamily as well, but you also get to write off in the first year all of your 5 and 15-year property. So we send an engineer out to the complex, and they tally up all the 5, 15-year property, add them all up to the bottom line, and then you take that and you write that off of your asset on paper in the first year. So instead of just writing off maybe $1 million worth of depreciation for the asset itself over the 27.5-year line, you get to write off $3-4+ million off an asset in the first year, which everybody who invested in the asset gets to enjoy based on their pro rata ownership. So just to use some numbers on our last deal, folks who invested $100K saw like a negative $70,000 paper loss, which then you can apply to other passive investments maybe in your portfolio. And it's based on your individual tax situation, but that loss will sit with you. You'll be able to use that in some fashion over the course of time.